lamb is white as snow, and everywhere that Mary went, the lamb.
We are so pleased and delighted to have Becky Parker Geist with us here today, and we're going to talk about Amplify Audiobooks, all things related to audiobooks. But Becky, can you tell us, how did you get into this field in the first place?
Oh, I'd be happy to. Yeah, thanks for inviting me on. So I came in from the acting side of things. I got my MFA in acting at University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana. And one of my first jobs out of grad school was with Talking Books for the Blind. And they had a facility in Louisville, Kentucky, where we were living at the time. And I just fell in love with audiobooks. It was great. And most of us were hired, the narrators were hired contract by contract. So you get a book contract and then, that was the end. It might be your last one. You never knew. But there were just two of us, one male and me, who we were told we were so popular with their listeners that we got hired as full-time employees, which meant that, and then I got to spend my days recording audiobooks. And yeah, I just fell in love with it. I then had a little bit of a break because I had my first daughter, and then we moved to California, and things were not, at that point, it wasn't an easy thing to have a home studio back in 84. So it went on hold for a little bit, but I was so thrilled when I got to come back and start my own company and really dive in full tilt into the audiobook world.
Do you have any advice just for authors recording and editing their books in general?
Yeah, I think my main general advice for authors who want to narrate their own books would be to have a team of people who are going to do all the things for you that you do not want to take on or don't feel ready to take on, or that you just recognize are not in your skill set, because you should be focused on doing what you do well and working with a team to have them take on the other things. I think that's true in any indie publishing arena. It's just like we don't edit our own audio. We don't edit our own print books either, our manuscripts. It's always better to have someone else who's helping in that process. So that would be my main advice. Yeah. Can
you tell us about the importance of community in the audiobook world, and tell us, what is Amplify Audiobooks?
Community that is so important in the overall process. And it is clearly, usually, the main reason why we're writing in the first place, right? Because we have something we want to share with others. Those others are our community. And sort of bringing this around to what Amplify Audiobooks is about and how it holds that core value. There's a couple different ways. Like, one is that unlike any other place, any other retail platform or way that you can sell your audiobook, Amplify Audiobooks is a way in which, first of all, as your customers, the people who buy your audiobooks, you're actually going to know who they are. You're going to have a way to reach out to them and build that community with them. And this is so essential. We know this from any marketer is going to tell you one of the first things you need to do is build your email list, so that you have a way to continue to communicate with people. And I want to highlight something here that many people don't think about. And it is the fact that whether it's somebody who's going to read our print book or listen to our audiobook, the reason they get it in the first place is because there's some value that it is offering to them, right? There's either some information that they want, or some entertainment that's going to help them. Maybe it'll just take them out of the challenges of their daily lives, or whatever it is, okay? So there's some value that they're seeking. And your book, your audiobook, is ideally delivering on that promise. So it's when you think about it from that perspective, it is likely that your listener is going to get more value from you and more value overall in their lives if they're able to stay connected with you. When you put out the next book, they're going to want to know because they have come to you for a certain kind of value. So it's good for the authors and it's good for the listeners. And so being able to connect is so, so valuable. Now, if you go to places, like Amazon or really any other audiobook retail platform or any other platform, really, you don't get that information. It's not available to you. Retailers know very well how valuable it is, and they're not going to give it up.
Can you talk about the broader marketplace and then why you decided that there was something wrong here and you wanted to offer an alternative?
Yes, absolutely. So just to give a little context about a little more from my own personal history is like I've been and currently am the president of Bay Area Independent Publishers Association for about 10 years now. So I've been in that community and seeing the struggles that indie authors face.
Mm-hmm.
And it has frustrated me being an audiobook producer for the last several years, where I've seen that, first of all, a lot of the information that's presented is deceptive in terms of what royalty payout will happen.
Mm.
And I can talk more about that if you like. But there's the big challenges also that, well, there's two main things. One is the royalties that are earned through those platforms are so small for each sale. And the second is you have no control. So you have no control over pricing or, can you offer a discount code for someone to give you a review or like who bought my audiobook? You don't get any of that control or information. And that is really challenging then for any author to succeed with their audiobook sales. With their audiobook sales and marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So our goal is to put the control and the money back in the hands of the creators so that they can succeed, so that the audiobook industry, the audiobook creators can thrive. Because in the current model, and all the retailers are using the same model, there are slight variations, but they're all pretty much the same overall retail model, where the retailer takes the big chunk of the money and then they give a little piece back to the creators, and then just really count on those creators churning out that content that they as creators are paying for the production of. So it's a very imbalanced scenario out there, and a lot of authors don't realize that going into it. They realize the importance of having an audiobook, and it is important because people want to listen to audiobooks. They want that great content. But it's not a very sustainable model unless you've just got, buckets and buckets of money to throw into your projects without needing any return from them.
Folks might be aware that ACX and Findaway Voices are both marketplaces for voiceover people, for audiobook narrators, as well as an author. So that just means that if I wrote an audiobook and I want to shop it around, a few narrators kind of do auditions for me. I pick the one I want. We agree on a price, whatever. That's kind of the way that it works. Does Amplify offer that? And if not, would that be something that would be offered or expanded upon in the future?
Amplify Audiobooks is a creation of Pro Audio Voices. And Pro Audio Voices, we have been primarily our core value or core offering is audiobook production. And there are many audiobook producers out there in the world that can help in that whole process of casting and, manuscript preparation and post-production, all the stuff that needs to happen from the time you decide to have an audiobook to the time it's in the marketplace. When it comes to Amplify Audiobooks, if you already have an audiobook produced, as long as you haven't made the mistake of making it exclusive on Audible, that's that is going to limit you from getting onto the platform. But Amplify Audiobooks is a place where it's like a whole suite of marketing tools that is not available to you anywhere else. So I talked a little bit earlier about that control and the royalties. And with Amplify Audiobooks, with every sale, you earn way, way more than you will on any other platform. And you get to set your own pricing. You can do promotional pricing, put it on a schedule. You can do coupon codes, as many as you want you can use them in so many different ways. And we help our authors understand some of the ways that they can actually utilize these tools so that their marketing can be effective. And then you also have direct access to your own customers. So you know who bought your audiobook. And so you can follow up with them. You might ask for a review. You might invite them. You might let them know when your next book comes out. There's so many ways in which that ongoing connection can be beneficial to both the author and the listener. So we've created this platform that is a way to distribute your audiobook. And we have apps in the App Store, or an app in the app stores, so that the listener experience is very similar to what it would be on the Audible app or the audiobooks.com app. And the big difference is that when you buy an audiobook on Amplify Audiobooks, the money that you've spent is not just mostly dropping into the pockets of the billionaires and the mega corporations, it's actually going to the creators. Mm-hmm. So as a listener, we can have a greater impact in the world with our purchases, because that's kind of how we vote, right? In terms of what we care about is by where do we spend our dollars? And there are a lot of ways that we can make a difference. And in the audiobook world, this is the one.
Just so to clear one thing up, because you had said if you make your audiobook exclusive on Audible or Findaway Voices for Spotify, is it the case that somebody can put their book on Spotify and Audible and Amplify, or is it that if you pick one of those, it makes it so that you can't put it anywhere else?
Amplify is always going to be non-exclusive. It is a standalone platform that is available to anybody that has an audiobook. And that only restriction, the limitation, is if you are in an exclusive contract with some other company, then putting it anywhere else on a website, your website, whatever, is going to be a violation of that contract. So you either need to end that contract, try to get out of it, or you've limited yourself and think about the next audiobook or anything else. Yeah.
Do you have demographic data on the types of folks who make audiobooks? And we have some because we know who our customers are, and they kind of fall into two broad categories for us, at least. And maybe it's different from your point of view. For us, it's the model of somebody is maybe retired. They've wanted to write a book and record it, so they get into it kind of that way. It's one or a few, or want to be a narrator as their kind of second career kind of thing. The other end of the spectrum is a much younger person, typically, who's more of like a voiceover actor kind of person. As you came from the acting world, they are usually actors primarily, and they do a number of other different things, and voiceover is a common one. And so audiobooks are part of their voiceover kind of portfolio. Is that what you see?
Yes. And I don't have any numbers, but I would say that is kind of the picture that we have as well. And for the author narrators, just sort of coming to that, those that do want to narrate their own books, I see as sort of falling into a couple different buckets as well. One is more of the business and self-help realm, where it feels like as author, I need to have my voice on this because I have something that it's like I'm a speaker, or I have a coaching program, or I want them to connect with me in a very personal way.
Right.
And the second is people who, more often than not, think that they are supposed to be, or somebody told them they should be, or for whatever reason they have this idea that it's up to them to be their own narrator, or maybe they have the idea that it's going to save them money
Mhm.
to narrate their own. So there's sort of different reasons in that realm. And what I would like to say about, for any authors that are listening to this where they feel like, oh, that's true for me, it's really important to understand that the quality of your audiobook is critical. And that if you don't feel passionately like you want to and should be, and like it's something that you look forward to doing, then you probably shouldn't be the one who's doing it. Because a good audiobook actor, narrator can do that on your behalf, and your content can be great as an audiobook. When we have and there are many audiobooks out there that have been narrated by authors who really probably shouldn't have narrated their own. And and the sad thing is that listeners are not as excited about listening to those. They're not going to get the kind of word of mouth that's going to increase their sales. So just ask yourself those questions, you know, because there's so much competition in terms of how many audiobooks are out there in the world, that the great ones, the ones that are really well narrated, those are the ones that are going to rise to the top. And you need that in order to really succeed and thrive in the audiobook world.
So, I mean, when somebody says audiobook, I immediately think of a 7-hour audiobook, but of course, there are children's audiobooks and all these other
Right.
things. And I bring that up because a short time ago, there was I don't know if you call it a scam, whatever you want to say about it, but like people can produce large volumes of content, and especially based on people's like search engine history. So if you know that parents are looking for young adult books, and they're going to type in dinosaur or whatever the terms are, you can just with an AI potentially just create essentially a fake book. And the purpose of like, well, why would you want a fake book? And it's just to kind of flood the market because,
Right.
again, the idea is like it's hard to make any kind of money off of, you take 4 years to write and produce a book, and then you want to sell it. You have to continuously produce new content. So people are saying, well, I know a way to do that. Just make not real content. But of course, that as a consumer is maybe not so ideal. So do you think that with the increase of those types of things, that and similar, I'm sure, other parts, that people will just get so frustrated with this that they'll try to look for places where they can get their, real books or follow authors they want or that kind of thing?
Yeah, I do, because I think that we are in this weird space right now where, we're just sort of exploring, and it's been going on for a long time, not to, say it's, oh, this brand new thing. It's been going on for decades, but we're now at this place where it's like, yeah, if we don't have creators creating actual unique new content, what are we going to get? We're going to get franchises of franchises, imitations of imitations. And at a certain point, it's just going to be like, why? Like I believe that we as humans have some sensibilities, whether we recognize them in a conscious level or it's all just subliminal for us. I think that we can sense when something is genuine or not. And the more we have the imitation of the imitation of the imitation, the more obvious that's going to become. And I think that we will, at a certain point in this realm of creativity and new content, that we're going to see a shift that happens. I don't know how far out, but that's what I expect to happen.
5 years from now, what do you think the impact of AI is going to be on the audiobook industry in 5 years?
I think that there is going to be, for at least a short term, a growing number of audiobooks that are narrated by AI. And I expect there will be some improvement in the quality overall of those. Right now, to my ear, it's pretty obvious. It's a computer reading to me and not a real human. But I think that I think there's going to be a shift back to humanity. And I just want to comment, Amplify Audiobooks will never host an AI narrated audiobook. It kind of goes against our philosophies of what matters in this world. And we really care about the people. So I think that we'll see some increase in the short term because people see it as a solution to the challenge of audiobook production being so costly.
Mm-hmm.
When that first came out, when it was first announced by BookBaby that they were going to partner up with SpeechKey and do it, they presented it as that solution, right? And what we were busy working on was looking at the same problem, but saying, no, that's not it's a different view because it's from our perspective, it's the fact that you can't earn a return on your investment because the retailers are taking all the profits.
Mm-hmm.
And BookBaby is just going to be doing the same thing, just on a different scale. So they're still claiming, they're going to claim their big chunk of the pie, but they're saying, well, you as an author don't have to pay as much. And what we're saying on our solution is, no, let's actually give you a big piece of the pie. Let's give you the control that you need, that is justified for you as the creator. And let's help you thrive in this world so you can keep making great content.
We want to say thank you again so much for Becky for coming today and letting us know a little bit about the audiobook marketplace. So we'll see you at the next one, everybody. Bye.
Be famous, grinding to the ground, not quite to the pouring fast. Oh, but you